With all the new players coming to Pathfinder 2e from other systems, I thought now would be a good time to cover some tips for those new players. However, I have a lot more tips than I can cover in one video. So today is part 1. I've got 5 of them for you. So, let's dive in. Number 1. New system. When you first get started with Pathfinder 2e, you need to treat it as a brand new system. If you're coming from D&D 5e, as I assume most of you are, then you're going to need to forget almost everything you know about playing this type of game. Pathfinder 2e is a D20 system, so you can keep that. Spells work pretty much the same as they do in 5e. However, how you cast them is completely different. I'm not going to go into detail on that in this video. I'm saving that for a video later on. But almost everything else you're going to have to relearn. Keep that in mind. Number 2. Traits. Almost everything in Pathfinder 2e has at least one trait attached to it. Some are as simple as the fighter trait, which means that fighters have access to this ability. Or the attack trait, which means you're going to take a multiple attack penalty if it's your second or subsequent attack on the round. But others are more complicated, like the incapacitation trait, which means that ability isn't going to work as well on creatures that are your level or higher. Or the open trait, which means that ability must be the first thing you do that has the attack or open trait. But you can use other actions before that. For example, the sudden charge feat has the open trait. So a barbarian could rage and then use sudden charge. But he couldn't make an attack and then use sudden charge. But it's more than just feats and abilities that have traits. Weapons have them too. This makes every single weapon in the game unique. For example, the deadly trait gives extra damage on critical hits. And the shove, grapple, and trip traits allow you to use your weapon to make those actions and get an item bonus to those actions when you do so. No one expects you to know every trait in the game. There are far too many for that. But you should at least know your weapon traits and the traits of your feats and abilities. Number 3. Conditions. If you're coming from D&D 5e, you should know that in this system, damage isn't the end-all be-all you're used to. In this system, conditions are king, but it's also extremely hard to stack bonuses and penalties. There are only 3 types of bonuses in Pathfinder 2e: items, status, and circumstance. The only way you can stack bonuses is by having each of these on an ally. Item bonuses are pretty easy to get. Once you hit level 4, you can pretty easily get them on any armor or weapon you're using. However, circumstance bonuses are extremely rare, and you're most likely going to need a spellcaster to get status bonuses. Penalties are pretty much the same, except they work a little bit differently when it comes to rarity. Item penalties are pretty rare, but they do exist. It is very easy to get a circumstance penalty to AC with the flat-footed condition. There are a ton of different ways to get flat-footed. Each rogue subclass has a different way of getting flat-footed. You can also get flat-footed just by flanking or by grappling or tripping an enemy. Those are just a few examples of how you can get the flat-footed condition. Other circumstance penalties are actually pretty rare. For status penalties, you can get them through a spellcaster just like status bonuses. However, every class in the game can get a status penalty to everything through the Frighten condition. They do this through the Demoralize action under the Intimidation skill. I'm going to be covering both the Athletics and the Intimidation skill in another video. For now, just know that every class in the game can get the Frighten condition through the Demoralize action. This is why teamwork is so important in this system, because having bonuses on an ally and having penalties on an enemy together is very powerful. But it is extremely difficult for one class to get all of these. Thus, having the Bard give everyone a +1 bonus to attack rolls with Inspire Courage, added to the Fighter flanking with the Rogue, And the wizard frightening the opponent with the fear spell makes everyone much more likely to hit that target, especially that fighter, since fighters already hit like crazy. There are other conditions that give bonuses and penalties, but I'm going to cover those in a different video. Number 4. Build wide characters. If you're coming from another system, especially D&D 5e or Pathfinder 1st Edition, you're probably used to building tall characters. As in, build toward one thing and be really good at it. And that works for those systems. However, Pathfinder 2e is very different. Most characters are going to get their power from their class features, not from the feats they take. The feats are designed to give your character more versatility. Thus, if you're playing a flurry ranger, it may seem like the best option is to take hunted shot and just keep using that. However, rangers are good at much more than that. They can be good at recalling knowledge, and they're the best snare setter in the entire game. Period. They can even buff allies with their focus spells. So don't think that you have to build around one thing and stick to it. Remember, I said conditions are king in this system, and more versatility with that is only going to help. Especially since there's a huge amount of monsters you could face with different strengths and weaknesses. Number 5. Attacking. So here's the thing. Attacking 2 times is generally fine. But attacking that 3rd time is almost never worth it. Because of the multiple attack penalty, you are taking a -10 penalty to hit on that 3rd attack. So, you are almost never going to hit that 3rd attack. You almost always have a 95% chance to miss and a 5% chance to get that natural 20. Then you more than likely will hit if you get that natural 20. But that's a big if. I did an entire video on other actions you can take besides making a 3rd attack, so you can check that out right here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, teamwork is vital.